Good evening, my name is Feldrin and welcome back to Dungeon Siege 3. What you see on Lucas's back there is the blade that he got last episode. It's a two-handed sword that deals a tremendous amount of damage and also has a nice amount of doom. And we of course gained an armor as well as a new attack that put things on fire. It has somewhat changed how I play the game. Instead of throwing a spear around all the time, I just set fire to everything. I'm quite liking it. Alright, so last episode we ransacked the hero's crypt and now we are continuing onwards towards Stonebridge. And to get there we're going to have to go through a swamp. This is actually, I think, the last time that we're going to be meeting these spiders. From here on out, we'll be meeting different enemies. So let's head on.
Well, the bridge is looking better, but it still leads into a swamp.
There you are. This may sound strange, but I was told to wait for you here.
Told? By whom?
A child. A boy with golden hair and piercing eyes, who spoke like no child I have ever met.
Did you follow us into the Mournweald?
No. He came to me in a waking dream. I know better than to doubt a vision, especially one so clear. My father was Hugh Montbarron, Grand Master of the Legion. A proud man, I'm told, but not immune to my mother's seduction.
Hang on, what? Are you telling me that you're my sister? My sister and a witch?
Ah, you are the Montbarron boy, yes? Of course. You have the same lustrous hair, and even prettier than mine.
Pretty hair? You think so? Wait, sorry, I'm still back on the sister part.
I do not know why this golden child chose me, but I believe I can be of help to the Legion, if you let me.
I really like these little character interactions.
Your mother seduced Montbarron? So the stories about Lascanzi witches are true?
What stories are those? The ones told to jealous wives by poxy-faced men? Of black-hearted witches who ravished them in the dark of night? Those stories are fancies, but they hide a deeper truth. Lascanzi witches have discerning taste. We will seduce a foreign man, but only if he is strong, clever, handsome.
This is actually another opportunity to gain influence, but this time with Katarina. If we pick What About Love, we're not going to gain any influence, not even with Lucas, so we need to pick this one.
He'd pass those traits to your children, and your clan would be stronger.
We are a practical race, no? 500 years of wandering has taught us to claim any advantage we can.
Does your sister know that you're planning to leave?
Leona's word does not bind me. I decide whose company I keep, and she knows better than to forbid me what I want. If only the rest of the world knew the same, life would be much simpler.
In other words, you haven't told her.
No. See, little brother, you know me better than you think.
If you're a Montbarron, then you're part of the Legion. We could use your help.
We journey south, no? To Stonebridge? I know the roads, and charming company makes long miles less dreary.
And with that we've gained another party member. Actually, let's just switch to her. Let's see over here, Katarina. And we're also going to have to level her up, I assume. Yep, there it is. So let me just go through this very quickly. As everyone, she has 3 stances. One is a single target with a rifled stance. Another is a dual-wielding stance with pistols, or I believe also shotguns, which is of course AoE focused. And then there is the defensive stance. Let's put a point in here so she can heal herself. We're going to want to power up the heart-seeking shot mostly, because it deals a tremendous amount of single target damage. And with a few other skills also multi-target. So, to augment that, we can give her a chosen prey, which allows us to curse enemies, so that they get more critical hits for 13 seconds. And to make Katarina deal more damage in pretty much any situation, Call of the Hunt. And then there is, well, I really like this one on Katarina when I played her. But the NPC, the AI, can't really deal well. The AI doesn't really do well with this skill. I've seen it fire into a wall. So I'm just going to pick the Blackhound Familiar to make a nice tag team with our Jackal. Alright, that's it for this screen. And for the specializations. Chosen Prey, no, I'll do that later on. Perfect Shot. This allows her to do more damage simply by getting more criticals from the agility. And then there is of course the Heart-Seeking Shot, where we want to get this thing so that she recovers, what is it? 30 focus per enemy killed by Heart-Seeking Shot. That's a tremendous amount really, so she can keep firing away. And the last one I'm actually not entirely sure. Let's just put some points into this so that enemies have reduced speed and attack power. I think I'll like that. This is all relatively straightforward. More agility for more criticals. This is a fun one. 20% chance to get ricocheting rifle shots. Call your shots just allows us to recover more focus, but only on targets cursed by blah blah blah. It's not that fun. This augments healing. This allows us to deal more damage with critical, so it's the next one we'll get. These aren't that great. Gains a 3% per rank bonus chance to score a critical hit on an uninjured target. Targets don't stay uninjured that long. And this allows it to block better. That's not great either. Alright, let's continue. No, actually, let's not yet continue. Because we can now equip her as well. And of course we have an enormous amount of stuff for her. Let's see. Yep, this thing already equipped. Stamina and armor or armor. Stamina and armor. Ah yes, the Unides Archery Glove. Which we got in the last dungeon. With a lot of agility, that's nice. And of course Sekron's Bodice. Armor Retribution Warding isn't that amazing, but we don't have anything better. Are these the best? I'll go for that one. She has really low stamina, but we also don't have a lot of good items for her yet, except for the two that we just saw. What is this? More attack? Yeah, why not? Actually, let's go for the more agility. Although then her attack is so low that it might as well be negligible. Ooh, lovely. This one we got all the way back from the Pale Fang, the White Spider boss. Alright, and that finishes up this. Also, I think I lied to you, we are going to have to fight a few more spiders, but I'll just skip those.
Hold on there. The roads ahead aren't safe. Heavy smoke down there. From the looks of it, there was another battle in the swamp. Azunite Church on one side, Royalists on the other. They're always at it. I was questioned by soldiers down the road. They were Azunites, Jane Cassinda's men, and not a friendly lot.
Fighting in the swamp? Doesn't seem like the best place for a battle.
The Royalists are holed up in the Glitter Delve mine to the northwest, and Jane's army marches from the Azunite coast southeast of here. This swamp has the misfortune of being right between the two. This certainly isn't the first time we've had trouble here. Why I still take these routes, I don't know.
Have you dealt with the Royalists before?
They don't harass me on the road, so that makes them at least a touch better than Jane's soldiers. I think they're an honorable lot, but I don't see them winning this war. They'll die for a queen who's the last of her line, and barely more than a girl.
Any opinion on the church soldiers? You seem to have run into them before.
The church army is the right hand of Jane Cassinda, but these men seemed more mercenary than proper soldier. They may call her a living saint, but any woman who hires Lescanzi thugs must be a little crooked. That's just what I think.
Thanks for the warning. I'll be careful.
I'll stay up here for a while, see if things calm down.
That was basically an introduction to the new enemies and the new area that we're going to be meeting. So let's see.
I wonder what caused this. In any case, we shall not pass this way, I think.
Well, let's inspect that a bit closer. Probably caused by explosives, a rock slide, cannon fire, royalist shoulders, smashed supply wagon completely blocked. Alright. Ah yes, the new enemies.
None shall pass this. You idiots are legionnaires! Get them!
Those guys are incredibly slow. So the fire pillar is actually a decent... Oh, are they all dead already? No. So the fire pillar is actually a decent attack against them. Against a lot of other enemies, the fire pillar isn't optimal because, well, it's a stationary attack. But anything that has to move through it, or actually is dumb enough to just go through it, against those kind of enemies, it's a wonderful thing. Still surprises me how much variation the game offers. Just now we went through a very short swampy area, and now we are in the bioluminescent caves. We're going to be seeing a bit more swamp as well as savages later on. Actually, now that I'm using the Pillar of Fire, slows enemies by 15% per rank might sound nice, but the quick enemies will run through it still, and the slow enemies are already getting damaged by this. I might put perhaps 2 points into this later on. For now, I'll just increase the damage. What was I doing here? Oh yes, militancy, get focus from critical hits, and I really want to get this one. Deal more damage after we have defeated an enemy for 10 seconds. Well, let's just do this for now. And continue, what was it? More damage with criticals. Alright, we are going to be fighting a lot more of those Azanite soldiers in these caves. Unless there's something really interesting, I'll just skip ahead. Perhaps this fight looks like it's a big one. And that was totally out of range of everything. I still need to get used to how the attack exactly works. You need to time it better than I've been doing it. That was a better one, for example. Alright, let's skip these and head outside of the caves. Alright, looks like this is the end of the caves. This soldier died from multiple arrow wounds, clearly a victim of the blockade you just passed. His armor indicates that he was part of the royalist army, the last defenders of Queen Roslyn and her court.
Anyone that kills Azanites is a friend of ours. General Devonsee is further on ahead. Just follow the path.
Is that? That is a cannon. Nicely stylized.
I think I'm going to be sick. So many dead.
Jane will send her army against Glitterdelf soon. Our war isn't done.
Jane's fanatics have won the day, it seems.
How are we going to get out of this stinking bog now?
There's a lot of attention to detail. Like these dead soldiers. These dead soldiers have been laid in rows, their faces washed and armor arranged for burial. The royalists lack the time for proper rites, but they have clearly made efforts to give their fallen comrades some measure of respect.
We could have stopped Jane here today if we stood our ground.
And yep, it is the same text. Before we head on to speak with that guy, I want to switch to Lucas. We are going to be getting an influence opportunity, and I don't want to be an ass with Katarina. Oh, we also have to level him up. Alright, let's just keep it simple.
Stand away there. Not so close to the general.
Never mind. I can hardly be called a general, with Her Majesty's army lying dead all around us.
Sorry, Lord Devonsee. Sir.
Forgive the boy. A few months ago he was a royal page. Now he's a soldier. Such are the depths to which we have fallen. I'm surprised to see any travelers on the road, with so many of Jane Cassinda's soldiers about. What brings you to this ill-omened place?
If we had Katarina with us, we would have to say we're just travelers. With Lucas, we're telling the truth.
We were sent by the Legion. We're heading south to reclaim the old chapter house in Stonebridge.
Well said. Best to be open with him. Perhaps he'll return the favor.
The Legion? So the rumors are true. A gathering in the north. The rebirth of the old Legion. That's beside the point, though. I'm afraid you're stuck here with the rest of us. The western road has collapsed and we're surrounded on all sides by impassable swamp.
What forces do you have left?
Only the baggage train and a few cannons. One of my officers, Roderick, had commanded the baggage train. He managed to keep the wagons out of sight, hid them under those massive roots. Unfortunately, the men who are guarding the wagons are my greenest troops, former servants and the like. The only blades they've ever wielded are kitchen knives.
All the dead soldiers were yours? How did this happen?
Jane Cassinda's army was encamped in the swamp. I thought I'd catch her unaware, send her scrambling back to the spire. So I force-marched out of Glitterdale, sighted her troops at the base of the cliffs, and gave chase. In the first charge, we drove half her forces into the bogs. I could see Jane, not 50 feet from my lines. She had nowhere to run.
You smelled victory, and that's when the battle turned.
Jane sent a few of her sappers round back of my lines. They collapsed the roads behind me. A clever move, I'll give her that. Half my army, the young ones mostly, saw their escape route cut off. Didn't matter that we were winning. They panicked, broke and ran. Some of the veterans held their ground and died where they stood. The rest retreated here.
She boxed you in, with her forces on one side and the bogs on the other.
Killed half my people with the cannons. The rest tried to flee into the bogs and drowned. And here I am, trapped in this swamp, cut off from the Queen. She has only her maids to protect her now.
What about those massive roots? We can walk across them like a road.
Indeed, they'd support her weight, and my cannons and wagons too. But the routes are separated by stretches of water. In order to create a path, we'd have to raise the land between them. Impossible, you might say. But I have a man in my army with power over earth and stone. A scholar called Phineas. If only he were here.
This Phineas can raise a land bridge between the roots? How is that possible?
He's made a study of earth magic. Geomancy. The old magic of the dwarves. It's all very incomplete, but a movement of earth by simple brute force. Yes, I think he could manage that much.
You've actually seen Phineas use earth magic?
When Jane's cannons had us surrounded, somehow he drew the earth up over our heads, protected us both from the enemy's fire. Saved my life. That's proof enough for me.
We need to find this scholar, Phineas. Where has he gone?
He was among the first to be taken by the damned savages. They fell upon us not long after the battle, and they've been mounting raids and abducting our wounded ever since. First people, that's what the scholars called them. Only Azanai knows what they call themselves. I thought of mounting an attack on their village to rescue Phineas and the others, but my surviving soldiers are too few and too young. If I had your help, though...
As might be obvious by now, if we're with Lucas, we should pick this option.
Let's try talking to the first people before we do anything rash. Maybe they mistook you for a threat.
Now there's a bit of sense. Makes me happy I'm on our side.
A reasonable theory, but I've met their kind before. Scavengers preying upon the weak and the wounded. They won't negotiate unless you hold a sword to their throats. I'll gather whatever men I can, the ones who can still fight, and we'll meet you there.
Let's actually switch back to Katarina, so that we can see a bit more of her fighting style.
I thank Azanai that our general survived. They just conscripted me 2 fortnights past. I can't believe I'm alive.
And apparently we're now going to have to bring civilization to the savages. Oh, that's Leopold from a while back.
Clearing a safe path. Guess I'll set up shop here until we find a way out.
I saw you speaking with the General. They must be in dire straits to rely on passers-by. But Lord Devonsee has seen fit to trust you. You already know of the savages in the bog. Beastly lot they are. Some of our best soldiers were captured in their raids. Others have gone missing. We sent scouting parties into the bog. I armed them as best I could, but baggage train attendants are hardly soldiers. They haven't returned for hours.
A swamp is hardly a place for heavy wagons. Was your cargo worth the trouble?
Basic supplies needed for the troops, but also cannons, powder kegs and the like. Perhaps we could find a way out of this muck-ridden cesspool on foot, but those cannons are needed in Glitterdelve.
This was a massacre. How did you survive the battle?
We panicked. Well, the young soldiers did anyway. After Jane collapsed the road behind us, we were so close to victory. I kept the baggage train here instead of risking an escape. The enclosure gave us just enough cover to survive the assault.
If your people are raw recruits, they won't survive long in the swamp. Let me look for your missing soldiers.
You surprise me. I can offer you little more than some extra supplies, and my thanks. Look for them to the east, out in the bog. We sent out 2 scouting parties. Hopefully the swamp hasn't claimed them. Devonsee won't permit any more of us to leave camp, so you're the only chance they'll get.
Alright, so we need to find Phineas, an Earth Mage, as well as 2 scouting parties. Also, because this is a swamp area, we will be meeting new enemies. Ah yes, we've already switched back to Katarina.
Does everything in the swamp come with a coating of slime?
These aren't threatening at all, they are just majorly annoying. Because they dive under and then you can't damage them. Like that. Yep, and then they are... well, somewhere else. The annoying thing about these things is, simply put, that they are a time sink. So, what the hell, that looked really weird. Most of those fights I'm just going to skip, because they are deadly boring. That is also not a very interesting enemy. These savages are a lot more interesting than these swamp creatures, to be honest. The savages have very high damage, very rapid attacks, ranged attacks as well, and they are quite challenging to deal with correctly. But of course, as is fitting, we come bearing gifts in the form of fire and bullets. We are
These
proper
ruins
imperialists.
almost look like a gate, yes? Surely that cannot be natural.
Yes, that is a hint to this thing here, which we can open later on. Or which will open up later on, to be more precise. That is a lovely example of the fire combo working out. And what you see around the character right now, all those twirly bits, that is actually the new skill that we picked, where she gets increased damage for 10 seconds after killing an enemy. And that, where the fire pillar just goes off and hits nothing at all, is what happens if the targeting system just freaks out and doesn't know what to do. It's a bit sad, really. Alright, let's skip onwards till we meet some savages instead of all these swamp creatures.
There are too many. Fall back. Fall back.
Oh, I thought they would be further away.
Damn natives. You made short work of them. I'm glad we're on the same side. We got split up from the rest of our party in the confusion. We're heading back to camp, but if you find the others, please help them.
More savages. You really need to pay attention with these guys because they can deal a lot of damage fast. Now let me just head back for a second, I need to loot some stuff. Alright, those savages dealt with, let's find some more. What they showed here was actually a little mechanic that we're going to be... Well, no, it's not really a mechanic. We need to unlock shit later on. These shrunken heads are not those of slain enemies, but of the first people themselves. By binding the spirits of the dead inside their own heads, the first people prevent their kin from returning to the River of Souls and merging with hated foreign peoples. Apparently, racism works on both sides in this game.
There, look. The savages haven't seen us yet, but this is the edge of their village. Phineas and the other prisoners are probably being held on the far side, or maybe in the trees above.
They have the advantage of numbers.
But we have the advantage of surprise, and their numbers will count for little in that maze of platforms and islands. Once we get to the other side, on open ground, that will be the real test.
Do you have a strategy in mind?
Everything depends upon finding their leader, the chief shaman. If we take him alive, we can negotiate from a position of strength. Damn, they've seen us. We're out of time.
Alright, let's assault these savages then. Seems like this side needs help first. Our soldiers seem to be dropping like flies. Good God. That's not the only thing that seems to be dropping like flies. Well, as I said, this is a very good demonstration of the tremendous damage that these guys can deal. Katarina, can you do that again? Come on. Don't die on me. Hey, come here. What is wrong with you? Don't go playing this solo. Oh, hello. He was actually supposed to join us already. I'm not sure where he went. So yes, I need to be more careful with these savages. And now they make you walk back all the damn way. Are these more heads? You can actually hear them whispering to you. So those are basically the souls of their ancestors trapped in shrunken heads. At this point, Katarina doesn't deal a tremendous amount of damage, but it's certainly helpful already.
We are Urshamesh. We bow before no outside. You are not welcome here. You bring fire and poison to our home. You kill our sacred trees, and you move the crawlers to madness. Now you kill my seed in my village. I come to tell you that you will stop, or Maru-Yatum will send you to the River of Souls.
You brought this on yourselves when you kidnapped our allies. You started this fight, not us.
We, Urshamesh, did not start any fight. For years you bring your beasts of fire and spoil the land. You kill warriors in metal and Urshamesh warriors. It matters not. Always it is the same. No peace in my village or outside in the damp.
I know nothing of your people. Who are you?
I am Maru-Yatum. He who whispers with Nagog, High Shaman to all in this village. We are the Urshamesh, the first people. This is our place. You do not belong here.
The damp? What is that?
All that is out there, beyond our home. The old roots, the deep waters, the cold mist. All is the damp.
You say the swamp is sacred, but we know nothing about it. Why do your people care?
Long ago, the old one, Magog, fell from the sky. Our fathers made a sacred bond with it as it lay dying. So we all became Ur-Shamesh.
Gods falling from the sky. Just like the old story of the creator gods.
The old one died and became the damp. When you walk, your feet touch Magog. When you breathe, you inhale Magog. All is Magog. All is sacred.
There's only one thing we want, and that's the men you took from us.
And why should I return your warriors? You have killed many of my seed. You have burned the ground and poisoned our waters with your dead.
It was Jane Cassindo who burned your swamp and killed your people, not us. I ordered my army to leave you alone.
You fought in the damp and killed Ur-Shamesh for years. You now speak names unknown to Maru Yictum to hide the truth. You are all enemies. When our blades pierce your heart, Maru Yictum will feed your flesh to the crawlers.
That really seems to have been a very obvious moment to use the Heart of Magog. Also, this fight is pretty tough. Let me just get away from everything and plant more fire. Oh, Katarina already down? When did that happen? This is not a boss fight yet.
The savages here. Go on ahead. Find the captain.
No, we're not going to go on ahead. We're going to murder savages. Let me just throw a spear instead. Right, where did she go? Over there. And that is a new enemy, a shaman. It's not the shaman from the cutscene, this is just a regular shaman. They summon those creatures? Yes, well done. Which are quite strong, really. And apart from that, they're not that much of a nuisance. They have a pretty strong range attack. I think that's it. They also got that poison thing, which you see over here. Did she already go down? Christ. Perhaps it's better to switch to Lucas. But she also needs to, well, get better equipment. I think the game is unequal in whether you gain equipment for one character or another. So you get better equipment for, say, Lucas, if you have Lucas with you, than when you have Katarina with you. He always gets surprisingly low on health, and I don't really understand when or where. Let me just loot a bit and then save. Yes, fire seems to be the social center of the village. In any other settlement, the jocks and meds might suggest evenings full of story and laughter. In actuality, the first people often sit here to listen to the droning voices of their ancestors, whose souls are captured in the shrunken heads that dangle nearby. Actually, before we go onwards to try and kill the swamp boss, I think I've been recording for quite a while already, so I'm going to call it a day here. But not before. I think we need to have a vote on whether we want to have Katarina with us or whether we want to have Lucas with us in the next episode and perhaps the episode after that. Alright, I think that's it for now. Have a good evening and I'll see you next time.